This week, we are taking a closer look at the peak water filtration system for all of you homebrewers out there. Welcome, my name is Patrick Wolf and this is Coffee with April. Today, we're gonna look closer at a new water filtration system for homebrewers called the Peak Water. The Peak Water is created by Kelowna, more specifically Maxwell, that has been the water guy in coffee for quite some time now. Now, he was excited to start shipping out the Kickstarter earlier this year, and we actually got the opportunity to buy this unit directly from the Danish distributor. Now, as we all know, brewing coffee at home is a challenge, and it's mainly a challenge due to the water quality, especially here in Copenhagen. Water for homebrewing is just not a very good thing here, right? Personally, when I'm brewing my coffee at home, I've been using third wave water for quite some time, and I'm really excited to actually have another alternative now. I should say that we will be coming up with some comparison video in the future as well, so stay tuned for that. Now, a closer look at the actual Peak Water. So the cool thing with it here is that it's super simple to set up. It's basically just a filter. You need to make sure to follow the initial instructions because you need to season the filter before you start using it. But that is very well explained in the manual, so just do that before you use it. Apart from that, it's fairly simple. You need to have a basic understanding of the water that you're using for brewing. If the water is very hard, you want to work with a higher range of numbers on the filter. If the water initially is quite soft, you can use with the softer. So basically, it's going to take some dialing in before you can find the water that suits you the best. So that's basically what we've been doing here the last weeks, of trying a few different measurements, making sure that we find what is compatible with how we like our coffee to taste. Now, a few other things to consider. It's basically a bypass system. So what you're gonna have is that you're gonna obviously have a big portion of your local water in the final version, regardless of how you do it, right? So when we talk water filtration systems, there's a few different options. One that is RO systems that are basically stripping down the water completely, adding on minerals afterwards, which allows you to have only the minerals you choose in your final water. Then on top of that, there are systems that are bypass systems that allows for a certain amount of the water of your original location to actually go through as well. For example, here in Copenhagen, we have a very high amount of chlorides and calcium in the water, which is making coffee brewing extra difficult. Now, more specifically with this one, what we have done is that we started to just basically measure the water quality that we have here at home in Copenhagen. And this reading showed about 540 total ppm. Now, we're not going to measure individual or reference individual mineral contents here, but just use total ppm because that's the easier one to relate to for now. So the total ppm is around 550, which is incredibly high. We would never recommend brewing coffee with that whatsoever. So what we've done is that we did two different settings, and we choose to just do a cupping as well to evaluate these different waters to see how they came out. Now, we choose not to use the normal Copenhagen tap water because we know by experience it's simply not good enough, and it ends up giving the coffee a very kind of dense, cloggy, chewy character without any acidity whatsoever, and we do not like that. Now, what we did was that we used setting 5 and setting 4 on the Peak Water. And it's kind of interesting here because when we measured the two different total ppms is that we see that on number 5, we're actually down to 65 of total ppm, which is usually around where we at April recommend brewing. The water we have at the bar here actually ranges from 65 to 70. Now, that's interesting because when we measure number 4, that's at 250. Now, we just started using this filter. There's still a lot to figure out. We're doing a lot more research and videos via our Patreon account as well, so sign up for that if you want more information. But we find it interesting that it's quite a big difference between a seemingly small range. Now, we basically took the same coffee and prepared a standard cupping using 10 grams of coffee to 17 grams, 170 grams of water. And we cut them side by side. And what's so interesting here is that on setting number 5 with 65 ppm, we had this kind of beautiful acidity structure, light coffee, transparent coffee. We can taste all of the characters that are in the coffee, which is perfect. That's really what we're looking for when it comes to home brewing or any kind of coffee brewing. Now, when we go into number 4 and we end up with a 250 ppm, then unfortunately the negative sides of the Copenhagen water shines through. So we have no acidity in the coffee. The texture is very chewy. We're lacking the kind of transparency that we're looking for at coffees here at April. So to come up with some kind of conclusion here, can you brew really tasty coffee using the peak water? Yes, we believe you can, because we've done it. However, you need to be careful to make sure that you have the correct setting that fits your water, right? So we recommend to get, for example, a normal TDS stick to measure the water a bit more regularly. We're also really interested to keep on using this and see how it performs over time and also on different settings. So you can expect us coming up with more details about the peak water. But for now, we're satisfied in the sense that we can make a cup of coffee that we at April believe is really tasty. So if you're, for example, brewing April coffee at home, wherever you are in the world, we would actually recommend this. Now, keep in mind again, we purchased this ourselves. There's no sponsorships. And we're also going to make sure to send this out to one of our Patreons later in the year as well. But again, just a super interesting little tool that we believe actually make it easier to brew tastier coffee at home, which is a really fun thing to do. Now, with that, we want to thank you guys for watching. As always, we couldn't do this without you. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. These are the people that allow us to do what we do best and give you continuous content. If you want to be one of our supporters, please follow the link in the video. Thank you again for your support.